You are watching Economic Buzz, one talk show that brings you all business matters and policies, the economic issues, and analyze the Indonesian market to help you to make the right step for your capital investment. For you, international business people in Singapore and Indonesia. I'm Erwin Suryabrata. Let's talk about your business on eBus. To compete in the market effectively, Shariah insurers need better investment instruments which give higher returns whilst conforming with the Shariah principles. Offering Shariah compliance products doesn't mean having only to focus on the Muslim as the sole captive market. The universality of Islam and the Shariah concepts make non-Muslim a promising and potential market as well. Here is the report for you about Shariah insurance in Indonesia.
In every business, investors are always looking for potential growth and good profit in the insurance industry. Have only to look at Indonesia to realize how big and untapped market it is, especially for the Shariah insurance, or known as takaful. By its size, Indonesia is indisputably the world's largest archipelago. The fact that Indonesia is one of the most populated countries in the world should be tempting enough for any business venture. Most importantly, it has the biggest Muslim population, as well as equally promising economic outlook. The potential for Shariah economic system is fast and evolving. Since the introduction of Shariah financial institution, Indonesia has definitely made a considerable impact in terms of applying more Islamic way in the financial and business activity. The growth of Shariah insurance entities in Indonesia was slow at the beginning, with only several Shariah insurance companies can be noted. At that moment, the development of Shariah insurances has been lagging far behind the conventional insurances. However, by the time, the number of Shariah insurers has improved significantly. Related to the positive outlook in the Shariah insurance, there are more insurers entering the market, all eyeing for a piece of the pie. To date, there are more to be developed to further stimulate the market. Compared to other countries with Muslim potential market, the growth of Shariah insurance in Indonesia is rather slower. Malaysia, for instance, has only 10% of Indonesian population. Yet, the total asset of its Shariah insurance has reached significant percentage of its total assets of the insurances and takaful industry. The progress of Shariah insurance in many countries is driven by the society's awareness towards the importance of insurance and a growing demand from Muslims for Shariah-based products. On the other hand, the acceptance of Indonesian society towards insurance is less favorable in general. Efforts should be taken to familiarize people with the Shariah concept of insurance and to educate them about the necessity of having an insurance coverage. MNC Business Report for Economic Buzz.
And to have a deeper view about developing Shariah insurance in Indonesia, we have Mr. Ahmir Udin. He is the Business Development Director of PT Prudential Life Assurance. Mr. Ahmir Udin, thank you so much for your time, sir. We're going to talk more about developing Shariah insurance in Indonesia. First of all, representing from Prudential Life Indonesia, I would like to ask you, as the market leader in insurance business, how do you see the business performance of insurance in recent years?
Okay, in general, I think it's a very interesting question. As you know, Indonesia is a very developing, fast-growing economy, and insurance penetration has historically been very low, especially when you compare it to some of the other either developed economies or even some other economies in the region. Penetration of around 1% of GDP shows that there is a tremendous amount of potential in the Indonesian economy for even further growth. And I think generally, if you see, the insurance industry is growing quite positively year on year. Of course, the industry in general is growing at fairly large double-digit numbers. And I think this is supported even further by the strong economic fundamentals that we've seen. The GDP growth in Indonesia, which continues to be strong, especially over the last few years. The GDP per capita is now reaching a very healthy level, which is giving people the opportunity to make the decisions about what they want to do with some of their wealth. So all of these factors working together show a very good opportunity for insurance to grow, and we've seen historically insurance growing quite well as well. If you talk about Shariah specifically, I think Shariah, most companies have started Shariah business much more recently, probably in the last 5 or 6 years. So it's a relatively new type of insurance. It's a new type of offering to the customers. Nonetheless, I can say quite confidently that even then Shariah insurance has grown very rapidly, again with strong double-digit growth numbers for the industry and the market in general. You know, for example, I can share with you just last year, Prudential life assurance grew at over 25%, and this year, you know, the growth story seems to be continuing.
All right. Speaking about something new, this could be new design, either new concept. So far, how do you see the public acceptance toward the Shariah insurance?
Okay, I think there are certain issues there. I think because, as I said, it's a recently new line of business. There's still a lot of room for increasing awareness and education about Shariah within the public. Of course, you know and I know that Shariah insurance is basically insurance which fits within the concepts allowed by Islam. But we feel that, yes, there is still a long way to go, especially within Indonesia itself, to get the level of awareness where Shariah can grow to its full potential.
All right, Mr. Ahmir Udin, we are going to continue after this one, sir.
Sure.
And make sure you are still with us on Economic Bus. We are discussing about developing Shariah insurance in Indonesia. We would like to greet you people in Singapore. You're on Economic Bus, the English talk show program that outlook the economic and social policies for your business. And we're still talking about developing Shariah insurance in Indonesia with Mr. Ahmir Udin. He's the Business Development Director of PT Prudential Life Assurance. Mr. Ahmir Udin, having understood that this subject of discussion will be something new as well, this is the first time we bring the discussion about Shariah insurance. I believe a lot of things needs to be shared with our business viewer, particularly in the previous short video package. We also mentioned that actually it's not only on Muslim market, even we can also use the non-Muslim market as a potential of the one who can get involved in the Shariah insurance. You use the word education. What kind of things that we need to educate our market in terms of what kind of information are urgently needed by them in terms of understanding more how Shariah insurance works?
Okay, very interesting question. I think in your short package in the beginning, you spoke about Indonesia being the world's largest Muslim country and the potential compared to some of the other countries in the region. And of course, I think that potential is very much there. You know, as the Indonesian economy grows, as we see the middle class sector coming back to a position where they're seeing higher levels of disposable income and wealth, we need to look at solutions. But to answer your question, what type of awareness, education? As I mentioned, Shariah is relatively new in Indonesia. If you look at some other countries, they started, 10, 12 years ago about Shariah business, whether it was banking, insurance as well. Indonesia was more in the last 5 or 6 years. I think the awareness that is needed, one of the biggest things is, do people even know that it's available? You'll be surprised that many people may not know. They understand, of course, that there are certain rules around Islam and whether you can buy insurance, what type of insurance. But people do not know that it is available in Indonesia. And I think we all have a role to play, whether it's us as insurers. You know, of course, we market our product mostly through face-to-face means and big agency channels such as Prudential has based in June we had over 180,000 agents. We have to make the effort to go out and meet with these people as possible.
Sadly to hear also, Mr. Amin, as the most populous Muslim country in the world, you said like some people, even they don't even know that it is available. When we're talking about Shariah insurance, it's already existed there. Start from now, but what the insurer needs to promote then when some people still don't get enough information about Shariah insurance?
It's, as I said, the insurers are part of the ones who have to play a role, but you know, the media has to play a role as well. Of course, the government is also playing a role. I think we have to share the information of what's available. I think today is a very good example of that. You know, we're giving people the opportunity to learn a little bit more about Shariah, and this has to continue. You know, I think we have to work together, get the message out there that there are other solutions available. You don't have to be that, oh no, because of my religion, etc., I cannot buy insurance. So there are solutions which are allowed within the Islamic principles, and Shariah insurance is that solution. So I think whether we do seminars, whether we do more articles in the media, print media, TV shows like this one, that can reach as many people as possible. You know, insurance has traditionally focused on the cities, but as Indonesia grows and progresses, that movement is going out into the smaller towns, smaller villages, and we all have to play that role.
Besides, we are still, if I may say, in the initial stage of developing Shariah insurance in this country. What makes Shariah insurance becoming less attractive to be talked about? Some people are not really focusing or give attention to Shariah insurance. They're still sticking on the conventional insurance, for example.
I think I wouldn't necessarily say that it's something that people don't want to talk about. I think you know, let's face it, Indonesia is the largest Muslim country in the world. It should not be something that you're scared to talk about. You know, it's available, it's a product, and just like any other insurance product, where at the end of the day you have to look at the customer's needs. What do the people need? You know, you could need insurance to take care of your savings or investment needs. If you need to save some money to send your children for education, if you want to save for your old age or your retirement, any other things, maybe save up to go for Hajj. Of course, there are mechanisms to do that. Insurance also covers the ability to protect yourself against unforeseen events. If we fall sick, if we have an injury, etc., of course we need financial help, and insurance can help protect us in that way. So Shariah insurance basically can fit the needs similar to any other type of insurance.
Since we are also airing to Singapore as the ASEAN country members, do you see there is a difference when we are talking about market expectation towards Shariah insurance? We talk a little about Malaysia. They only have about 10% of Indonesia total population, but it is successful there. What kind of market expectation do you see in Indonesia? Maybe we can compare with our neighboring countries who are succeeding more in terms of applying Shariah insurance.
I've not worked in Malaysia, so I don't want to comment on that. But I think Indonesia is very much on the right track. I think we recognize the potential. I think everyone recognizes the potential, whether it's us as Prudential, whether it's the market in general, whether it's the government. And I think they realize that now, I feel that we realize that now we're in a position where we can move ahead with Shariah. It's still new. There's still a lot of opportunity. And as I said, the penetration overall for insurance, let alone Shariah, is less than is around 1%. So there's so much business out there for all of us, but we have to explain to the customers what we can offer through Shariah. And I think that's a role, you know, that we all have to play. You know, when our people are out there face to face talking to the customer, we train all our agents on Shariah, 180,000.
Mr. Ahmir Udin, we're going to continue after this one, sir. More of the discussion about developing Shariah insurance in Indonesia will be brought to you soon. Stay with us on Economic Buzz. Back on Economic Buzz, this program can also be seen through StarHub Asia Channel 121 Singapore. With me, Erwin Suryabrata, and we have Mr. Ahmir Udin, Business Development Director of PT Prudential Life Assurance. We are talking about developing Shariah insurance in Indonesia. Even to me personally, Mr. Ahmir Udin, this will be something new that I need to learn more. But right before I learn it, I feel it will be so complicated talking about Shariah insurance. What actually makes people a bit, worried when I want to go into Shariah insurance? Will it be too complicated? complicated in terms of the rules about this and that. The question will be, what do the people need to know about the concept of Islamic insurance? One of it is Sharia, of course. What are the benefits of Sharia insurance if I want to compare it to the conventional one?
Okay. First of all, you don't need to be scared, okay? Because basically Sharia is very similar to insurance. It's there to for you to look at to either protect your needs for the future. It's there for you to use as an investment vehicle. And in that sense, Sharia is broadly the same as conventional insurance, okay? But of course, as we said, Sharia is basically designed to fit in with the principles and concepts of Islam. There are a few differences, okay? And there are 3 or 4 basic differences. I think the first one is that whereas conventional insurance, in conventional insurance, you transfer your risk to the insurance company, okay? So if you feel you have a risk against injury, sickness, death, whatever, you transfer some of that to the insurance company, and the insurance company takes your risk, and if anything happens to you, they will pay. In Sharia insurance is a bit different. In Sharia insurance, you share your risk with the other participants in the Sharia group, okay? Because one of the basic concepts of Sharia is that we share the risk together. So that's the first thing, okay? So it's risk transfer versus risk sharing, okay? That leads us to one specific type of setup, and that is the tabaru concept. The tabaru concept in Sharia is basically where those risks are put together and shared in the form of a financial fund, okay? Another difference from conventional insurance compared to Sharia is, of course, as we know under Sharia regulations, there are certain types of businesses, the certain type of concepts such as riba, which is, or interest, which is not allowed. So whenever Sharia policies are dealing with financials, etc., we make sure, or we have to make sure, that they are in line with Islamic or Sharia recognized and permitted concepts. Okay, so you know, in how we deal with the banking industry, how we deal with certain types of investments which we don't want to go into because they're not allowed in Islam. That's also very important in the Sharia side. Finally, and an important one, a difference in Sharia, because of its nature, in Indonesia especially, all insurance companies that are selling Sharia are required to have a Sharia board or a Dewan Pengawas Sharia. This board has multiple roles. They're basically there as advisors to the insurance company. We share with them ideas, and they give us their interpretation of how it can be done in Islam.
Can they intervene in terms of monitoring of the practices as well?
In fact, very good question. Their role is more than that. They even are the first line of approving and authorizing whether we're doing new products, any new concepts. And we see that their role is actually growing within the Indonesian Sharia industry, because now they're expected to sign off on our Sharia business, the Sharia financials, making sure that all the practices are within Islamic regulation. So they play a very wide role, and in order to do that, they fit into the Dewan Sharia Nasional, which is of course a national body which looks after Sharia-related matters. So these are the 4 main, I would say, differences or concepts which are used in Sharia. They're not that different, but you know, it's there. That's the key differentiator.
After understanding your explanation, as the investment vehicle, Sharia insurance, will it make it in a way less risky compared to the conventional one? Because it's being well monitored, there is no riba, for example, there is a shared participant as well. Will it make it less risky compared to the conventional one? Because people also consider about the risk factor if I want to use certain life insurance, let's say.
Okay. The Sharia in itself doesn't affect the risk so much, just the same as in conventional business. If we're looking at things like unit-linked policies, which gives you an opportunity to mix protection together with investment. Similarly in Sharia, we you as an individual can decide on the level of risk that you want to be exposed to with regards to investment.
Really?
Okay. So you can choose, you know, you do this every day. You can choose the level of risk that you want in the investment fund that you choose. So we have Shariah funds which look at, you know, different types of investments. So we have an equity fund, we have a cash and bond fund, we have a mix. And as a policyholder or a Shariah contributor, you have the option to mix your investments across the different types of funds. So it's not the Shariah itself. You have a choice in the vehicle that you choose for your investment, depending on how much risk you want to take.
Mr. Ahmir Udin, I need to get more detailed explanation. Share with me as if I was really kindergarten student who need to know about something new in Shariah insurance. You spoke about the Tabaru fund and also surplus sharing. How does it work actually? Or how do customers get back their Tabaru sharing or surplus? Maybe you can give us the procedural thing, the process, or...
You know about it more than you say, I know that. Okay, as I said, Shariah, one of the basic concepts is risk sharing as opposed to risk transfer. The Tabaru fund is basically the basis of the risk sharing. So what happens is that in a Shariah contract, of course, there's the customer, there's the manager of the fund, which is the role played by us, the insurance company. And it's our responsibility to make sure that the risks that you may want to purchase, whether it's insurance, protection, etc., we price those. Okay, but then everyone who contributes into that Shariah fund or Shariah pool, what we call it, pool of money, that goes into the Tabaru fund. Okay. So if you and I are customers, we will pay our contribution. The risk part of that will go into the Tabaru fund.
Right.
And thousands of other people, tens of thousands of other people like us will also contribute towards those funds. At the end, in every year, of course, when any of us gets sick or has to make a claim, we pay out of that fund, out of the Tabaru fund. So contributions go in, any claims come out.
Okay, I got the idea now. Mr. Ahmir Udin, if you don't mind, can we continue after this one?
Sure.
Make sure you are still with us on Economic Buzz. After this, we are going to talk more about developing Shariah insurance in Indonesia. Stay tuned. You are still with us on Economic Buzz. We still bring our discussion about developing Shariah insurance in Indonesia. The key factor in developing the Shariah insurance in Indonesia is to make people understand first what is Shariah insurance, and that it is not that complicated. Thank you so much for explaining to us in a very simple way. I would like to ask you in more detail about the Tabaru sharing because we are having the commercial break earlier.
Sure. As I said, everyone puts their contribution in. Any claims that need to be paid are taken from that. Now, at the end of the year, we look at the fund, the Tabaru fund, and if there's still money left inside, of course, that's called the surplus, okay, the extra. And what we do is that money is then distributed back to all, as I said, us who have contributed into the fund, and that's called the surplus sharing of the Tabaru. Of course, it's shared back in proportion to how much contribution we put in. So if you put in more, you will get back a bigger portion. If I put in less, I'll get back a smaller portion. But that's where we share the risk, and that's the main difference. Because in the insurance concept, the conventional concept, if there's anything left over or if there's a shortfall, the insurance company has to deal with that. So that's the main difference on the sharing concept and how the Tabaru works. So we all put the money in, we use it for claims. If anything's left over, we distribute it back to the participants, and then we start again next year.
Mr. Ahmir, who is buying Shariah insurance in Indonesia? Because people already start, for sure, Muslim market will buy Shariah insurance, but it doesn't necessarily mean that way sometimes, right?
You're absolutely right. Of course, predominantly Shariah is designed to address the needs of people who would like to buy an insurance that is in line with Islamic principles. However, you're right. There are some people out there who feel that the sharing aspect gives them a chance to contribute back to the society. And those people who may not be Muslims do purchase Shariah insurance.
From Prudential Life,
as well.
Are there any such cases that non-Muslim also?
Oh yes, oh yes. Of course, predominantly the majority are Muslims, but there are many people who buy, who are non-Muslims who also buy Shariah because they want to give back to the community.
Outside from Indonesian market for a while, how do you think the global world look at Shariah concept nowadays? Because some and more people thinks that this one is much secure in a way, and at the same time we can minimize the risk?
Okay, I think it is seen, if you look at the global statistics, that Sharia is seen as a very quick and fast growing segment of the economy. And the interesting thing is that it's not only limited to Islamic countries.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I think it's definitely being seen differently. We see Sharia business in Europe, in the Middle East, of course, in Southeast Asia. So there's definitely markets there, still concentrated, I would say, in the Islamic countries, but it's definitely picking up in the other areas as well.
Yeah. Is there a difference, Mr. Ahmir, in the way Sharia is sold compared to the other insurance that we know so far?
I think that's a very good question, because that's part of the fear that some people have. And I think the simple answer is not really. Okay. Basically, whether it's Sharia insurance, whether it's conventional insurance, the right way to sell it is to understand your needs. If I'm meeting you, I have to understand your needs. What do you need insurance for? Do you need it for protection? Do you need it for savings? Do you need it for investment? And then to give you a solution for what you need. And in that respect, whether we're selling you a unit-linked policy or an investment-heavy policy or a protection-heavy policy, Sharia is very similar to conventional insurance. Of course, I need to be able to answer any questions that you have, and that's why we train all our 180,000 agents to sell Sharia. But you know, at the end of the day, it's about you, the customer. We have to listen to what you want. We have to understand that and make sure we give you the right thing.
What has been done by Prudential when you're talking about understanding the consumer needs and wants?
As we say, as you know, Prudential puts a lot of importance on listening to what the customers want.
Always listening, always understanding.
You said it, I didn't, but absolutely right. And it's about, you know, it's an ongoing process. Whether we are designing new products, whether we're changing the way we train our agents, whether we are changing the way how we come to you and approach to you with the product. We listen to what our customers want, and we change ourselves as necessary. So, you know, an example would be, we've seen that historically a lot of people want to be insured, their children, their families. So we've come up with specific products which allows them to be insured, at the young ages. We just recently launched a product where you can actually be insured before you're born.
Really?
Yes. But that's a different topic.
Related to the motor tech line,
Yeah.
always listening, always understanding by Prudential Life, understanding the Indonesian market. How predictable are they in terms of shifting their preferences toward insurance product? Can it be something readable or predictable? Because people change very quickly, depends on the current economic situation, let's say.
I think you probably are better positioned to answer that, but people in Indonesia are similar to anywhere else. That's a belief that I personally have. I've lived in different parts of the world. People are the same. I think it's not anything that can be done quickly. It's a slow and steady process. As I said, it's a continuous process. And I think we're pleased that, at Prudential over the last 17 years, we've been sticking to that. And that's helped us to reach where we are today.
All right, Mr. Ahmir Udin, we're going to continue with this one, sir. Economic Bus will be back soon with more of you from Mr. Ahmir Udin. He's the Finance Director of PT Prudential Life Insurance. My apology, Business Development Director, sir. We're going to be back after this one. You are watching Economic Bus with Mr. Ahmir Udin. He's the Business Development Director of PT Prudential Life Assurance, to share his view over the topic that we bring up in this talk show. Once you mentioned about the government, you're not going to talk more about regulatory framework in more detail. The question will be, to what extent actually, when we are talking about developing Sharia insurance in Indonesia, the government can also play a role in terms of supporting this business to grow and becoming developed in a proper way, for sure.
I think that's very valid, and as I mentioned before, all of us have to play the role: insurance, media, and the government. And I'm very pleased that at least in the insurance industry, I think the government, we feel, plays a very positive role. They interact with the industry very well. They take feedback, and I think they are very supportive in general. Of course, it's the role of the government to make sure that in our industry that the interests of the consumer are protected, and of course they must bring out regulations. And being a very responsible company, we take compliance with all the regulations very important. And I think the other role the government plays is also to strengthen the foundation of the industry, to make sure that at the end of the day, as I said, whether it's Sharia or conventional, it's other people's money, and we have to take care of other people's money and make sure that we do it carefully, not taking too much risk.
Because we're talking about building the trust as well,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely, and that's critical. So I think the government's policies in general, as I said, are supportive. They help to strengthen the foundation of the industry, while at the same time letting it grow, because that's something that's very important in Indonesia, so that we can reach out to as many people as possible.
About letting it go, do you think that business climate is also supporting at this very moment?
Very much so. I think this is the topic of your show. You know better than all of us that how the business is doing. Of course it makes a difference. That positive mood, everything makes a difference to what's happening. And I must say that all of those things are coming together very well.
I believe many dialogue has been done with the government as well in terms of developing the Sharia insurance concept to grow more in this country. What common, like issues, I would like to say it, or use the word obstacles or challenge that could hamper the Sharia insurance to grow more, since we understand that the market's already huge, but we don't even reach the ideal percentage of having the market grab here.
Yeah, I think it's more of a timing issue. I think it's not any major obstacles. The opportunities are there. I think we need seminars, and I see more and more Sharia or Islamic-based seminars happening. So we're going in the right direction. We need education, consumer education. As I said, this type of talk show, I hope that we are giving people the opportunity to learn a little bit more about Sharia. So generally it's all coming together, but there's still a long way to go. Indonesia is not a small country. It's a big country. It's very spread out. So communication in general, whatever needs to be done, we have to all play our part to do that. And it will take, I think it will probably take a little bit of time, but hopefully, inshallah, we will reach there.
I see. Speaking about education and promoting, also socializing with Sharia insurance concept with Indonesian people, how cooperative or responsive are they in terms of accepting this concept, Sharia insurance, into part of their insurance life as well? Because you're also talking about, they need something feasible. When I'm talking about return, what can I get in return? I need to get feasible result. And sometimes, sadly to say, people want it instantly, right? While in Sharia insurance, it takes process for sure.
Okay, you're right. I think those are cultural aspects, how people deal with Sharia, of course. It's there, it's an option, it's available. We also have conventional insurance in Indonesia. And it's every individual's right to choose what suits them the most. I think our role in this industry is to make things available and help people to understand how they work, what's available. At the end of the day, it's their choice. You know and I know we cannot force people to take something they don't want. It doesn't work in the long run. So I think, as I said, culturally Indonesia, what you mentioned, things, part of that is very correct. People, everywhere, people would like fast returns. But people understand that, things are steady, things take time to grow and develop. And generally, I would feel it's very positive to see that people have the patience. You'll be surprised. Not everyone wants it shortcut.
From human resource aspect, people behind, for example, insurer, are they also becoming well prepared and well equipped in developing the Sharia insurance?
I think that's one of the key questions, because I think that's also an area that is very much needed. And I think this is a big desire from our side as the industry. It's very clearly the desire of the government as well to make more resources available for the Sharia industry. As you said, the government's aspirations are quite big. They, as the biggest Islamic Muslim country, of course, Sharia can play a big part. So there's still a long way to go there.
All right.
I think that's something we need to look at.
Again, Mr. Ahmir, it's all about the process, right? We need certain period of time as well before seeing the final result. We're going to continue with this one, sir. Next, sir, you are still with us. We still have one more segment on eBus talking about developing Sharia insurance in Indonesia. Economic Buzz will be back. We have reached our last segment talking about developing Sharia insurance in Indonesia, and we're going to have another view from Mr. Ahmir Uddin. He's the Business Development Director of PT Prudential Life Assurance. Well, Mr. Ahmir, it leads me to another question also. I've been wondering about this. Is the insurance is applicable also to other, let's say, insurances business such as health insurance? Some people might want to know about this.
Sharia, right? You're asking about. So basically, yes, Sharia can be, it can be used to protect different types of insurance and protection. So the very short answer is yes, health insurance can be covered under Sharia, and it is. We have products in health insurance, as do a lot of other companies in the market as well. Whether it's health, accident, life, critical illness, all of these are available in Sharia insurance as well. So it's all there. You don't have to worry.
I see. Related to promote it,
Yes.
the Sharia insurance, so particularly from Prudential Life. Maybe you can share certain, I would say, strategies or maybe tips or information for the customer on how to ensure that the insurance is already compliant.
Important question. I think that's very good. In general, I would say that customers or consumers in Indonesia, if a product is labeled Sharia, it has to have gone through many approval processes. As I said, there's the Dewan Pengawas Sharia, of course there's the government approval, the regulatory approval. So generally, if it's labeled Sharia, you can be pretty safe that it is compliant because many people have checked. If you have any questions, if you're unsure, it's very easy. You can check the website of the company, see they will have something about the Sharia. Pick up the phone and call the company, okay? Or at the end of the day, most of us meet insurance through our insurance agent. Ask them to explain to you whether it is compliant and how it is compliant, and they should be able to give you that answer. So, there are many ways where you can double check. If you have any questions or you're not sure, just as I said, pick up the phone, go on the website, talk to your agent, whatever is necessary.
For the long run, what will PT Prudential Life Assurance will do in terms of helping Indonesia in growing Sharia insurance more and more people are becoming more familiar, hence more market can be grabbed as well? What has been done by PT Prudential Life Assurance?
As mentioned, first of all 180,000 agents of ours are trained in Sharia, and they have the understanding to be able to go out and explain. We are working very closely with the media, such as yourself, I think, and both ways, to try to make more people comfortable around how Sharia works, to make them understand.
Sorry to interrupt you. Are they already feeling comfortable so far?
I hope so. We like to make them understand a little bit more, which I hope
in a simple way, for sure.
I hope we've achieved some of that today, and maybe we can ask your viewers if they're comfortable later on. But so the media, we have to work together. It's a joint process. It's not something that any one of us can do on our own. The government is playing its role as well. I think they're talking about Sharia. They're arranging seminars. They're looking at it on a technical level, on a broad level, and getting the knowledge out there in line with the regulatory framework to make sure that everyone is taken care of. So everyone needs to keep doing what we're doing, maybe a little bit more, keep it going, don't just stop, and then hopefully we should get there in time.
How will be it possible if you want to get information about Sharia insurance from PT Prudential Life Assurance? Maybe you can also share with us how to reach Prudential Life Assurance.
Sure. I think you can see our website, Prudential. We also have a telephone number. I believe it's 500 500 5000.
If you can find it yourself.
I'm sure you can look it up. Sorry. And most of us know an agent. Talk to your agent. Talk to your agent, ask them to speak to Prudential. If not, give us a call, we'll send someone to speak to you.
Characteristically, what needs the insurer have to understand about Indonesian market or Indonesian people to approach them?
Interesting.
In sending the message, also in making sure that our mission is really there, well targeted.
No, I think that's part of the process where we meet face to face. If I'm trying to talk to you about insurance, I have to look at what you need.
You're suggesting personal communication.
I think what we've seen historically, what works best in Indonesia is a face-to-face explanation. I think it builds the trust, it builds the relationship, and that's very important when we're selling or talking about long-term agreements, long-term investments. And I think as a consumer we need that. And I think the industry in general has been able to build that level of trust. Prudential, of course, over the last 17 years, we have to, we listen to our customers, we have to understand them, and that's how we get the trust.
Okay, to wrap up the talk show, Mr. Ahmir, when we're talking about the prospect of Sharia industry in growing more, what will be the outlook for the upcoming years? Let's start with 2012 first, Mr. Ahmir.
Okay, you're asking me for specifics. As I told you right at the beginning, that we've had good years in the past. 2012 is continuing to look quite good. I think we're on record of having said that. The industry in general seems to be doing well. Shariah as well is growing quite well in Indonesia, as I told you, double-digit historically. So generally we're very positive, but we have to keep the message there.
All right.
The message has to continue, understand, be aware, and then it should do well.
And thank you so much for sharing the insight, also the message with our viewer this evening. Mr. Ahmir Udin, the Business Development Director of PT Prudential Life Assurance. Best luck for you.
Thank you, Erwin. Thank you very much.
And that's wrap up our talk show for this time. Hope to have you soon in the next Economic Buzz with other issues to bring up in the discussion. I'm Edwin Surya Brata, wishing you best luck in doing your business today. Let's talk about your business only on eBuzz.